Hi everyone. Ah, I feel called to riff today on a few topics and share with you what's dear to my heart in this moment. I'm currently staying in Ashland, Oregon, and I've been really enjoying this lovely, magical town and how thoughtfully all of the businesses and the green spaces and the art is placed and integrated in the town. And so in my 20s, I went to architecture school and I was also on town councils and really inspired to make big change, like system-wide on like the governmental level. And then when I was going about that and being on town council and joining different watership steward community meetings and like affordable housing committees and conservation and all kinds of things that are like more systemic level things, I realized that there was a lot of inefficiency and a lot of lack of leadership and egoic tendencies. And I felt helpless in a way. And I was young and I didn't feel like my voice mattered on some level. So I went to pursue a master's in leadership for sustainability to feel like I knew something beyond just my heart feeling like this doesn't feel great. How can we do it better? I wanted to get the skills I needed to actually feel confident to share the gifts of what I was feeling needed to change. And so coming back around now in this new era, this new paradigm that we're birthing together, I'm starting to see these desires of mine come back up because I'm here for the really big work. I'm here for like the big, like system-wide clean water work, like real big planetary change. And I haven't always felt like I could affect things on that level. And so I'm feeling now with this economic revolution that's underway that so many more of us are going to be able to truly affect governmental and town level and nationwide change. And it's super exciting for me and it's feeling really empowering. And I'm excited that so many of us, even today, if you have never ever even touched cryptocurrency to this moment, even in this moment, you're still going to be a millionaire, likely. There's so much gain to be had in this new whole economic revolution that's happening. It's absolutely incredible. And so we all get to rise into that embodiment and the integration of that abundance frequency we always knew to be true, that supported, empowered abundance. We can truly affect change. And this is happening for us now in real time. And it's like a gold rush out there too, right? Lots of like cowboy and Indian kind of feelings in some ways. And there's hearts pounding with the volatility of the market and all kinds of just a newness out there. And it makes me really ask, like, how are we going to be setting ourselves up now? Like, given this new scope or this new abundant sphere that we're entering, how are we going to play that in the best way? And how are we going to build the systems in place in the new paradigm that will really help all of humanity succeed? And we have that ability now. It's so amazing. And so many of us tapped into the cannabis industry when it popped, and now the hemp industry is a whole nother industry. And the wealth is shifting hands. And the whole working class has the potential to be the stewards of this new earth, this new time. And so I think it's so important that we begin having the conversations in our communities and circling up as people are going to be amounting more wealth and asking and empowering and creating the structures and like the DAOs, the co-creative cooperative organizations where we can really affect like big change, where in the past, maybe my 5 or 10K, I don't feel like I could do much. But then with all of us together, your 100K, your 500,000 easily done in a year, this is how amazing this economic revolution is. How are we going to come together and rebuild our communities, or provide clean water, or subsidize water filters, or change, you know, make a downtown area walkable? Like, how are we going to really embody the majestic temple, amazing Jedi, Lumerian, whatever, however you see it, your space age, vibrant, thriving, well-vegetated communities? How are we going to do that? And I think it's really fun that we get to start planting these seeds now, and asking the bigger questions of our leadership. And how are we servant leaders? And servant leaders really serving like, well, these are my hopes and dreams that I want this temple space to happen. But then what are the hopes and dreams of the town, or the community, or the land, or the earth? And serving that bigger level, and we get to really stand in that power. And I stood in this way of thinking a long time ago, and then because things have been happening on a slower timeline, I you know, wane in and out of that sort of really impassioned excitement to make these big level changes. And I have been involved in an incredible organization for the past year that is really doing amazing things on multiple levels of like the holistic wheel to set in motion new systems for like big systemic change. And so that's exciting, number one. But now I'm saying, like, we have an opportunity now to like go back out into our communities and even educate just a little bit maybe about this economic revolution, invite people into something bigger, and invite our communities, or our tribe, or our loved ones, our families, into thinking about this new, just say, this new paradigm is here. There is an economic revolution. It's not going away. Things are changing. And how do we want to be a part of that? And how do we want to inspire and empower that change in our community? And what do we see? Do we want to see more art? Do we want to see more free concerts? Or how are we going to live that regenerosity paradigm now in our everyday lives? And because we already knew we were abundant. We knew this love winning thing was happening, no matter what's going on out there in the world. We know that it's happening, but now, like, to have it land and integrate in our laps and say, wow, me and my 6 friends, we now have $3 million. How are we going to make that embodied temple community space? How are we going to invite in community? And how are we going to give back to our community? What in our town or in our area needs restoration or a little bit more love? What population could use better systems in our community? Like, how are we going to systemically, like, be this global change, and of course locally enact that? So each of us either lives in a town, or we're gypsies, or we're really embodying that I live on planet Earth. I'm here for more a meta shift. And so not only getting clear with where our own facilitation capacity is, or where our own scope is. And maybe your scope is really present moment, and maybe it's your family. And maybe you're going to raise your family in the most conscious, ethical way. And then maybe it's your town level, or maybe it's not nationwide, or maybe it's global missions. And we want to, maybe with this newly found abundance, we want to start humanitarian organizations, 501c3s, or nonprofit 508(c)(8) churches to get the good works done. And it's like, it's so much easier now. And I'm saying this from a place of kind of a ground zero. I'm not coming from a place of like, I have $1 million in my bank account and it's here, right? It's like, I already feel fully supported. And if we can even take another credit card out and take that 5K or that 10K you get and put it into crypto right now, it's just begun. Yeah, I know Bitcoin went from 1,200 to 19K yesterday, back to 18K today within, 4 months? But that's just one altcoin. There's 1,000, and there's 100, and there's 30 that are already gaining the market volume to rise up there with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was like the front runner. It's kind of, I feel like it's the dinosaur. It's just as owned as big banks and corporations and arms dealers as it is by the new paradigm. And now we have an opportunity to ride the wave of these other new currencies that are supporting a lot of technologies that are really going to help empowerment and decentralization, and really help people see that it's not just the way it is in an old paradigm, right? Oh, that's the world, that's the way it is. And really say that we have the power to change things from within. And it's not just because of what we have in our bank accounts, but it's an entire planetary shift. And it happens to be happening on a very strong and well-placed and grounded economic level. And so whether or not we're already playing in cryptos, if there's any way to play in it, great. And if you're not, I believe you're still supported, because all over the world, people are talking about world basic income. There's countries adopting cryptocurrencies, putting into all sorts of awesome social services in place, where like the wave of the open heart of humanity is just rippling now. So there's so many different ways to play. And I was just inspired today to ask us, like, what's that next level for us? You know, what's that next step? What's that bigger systemic change? And can we bring it? Can we start a circle in our community? Can we host a group, and can we empower others to say, hey, we have this opportunity now. Something different is happening. And then what are the skills that are so normal to many of the new paradigm or the transformational tribe, like the ways of counsel, or really being multidimensionally embodied, or true active listening, or even more cooperative ways of doing business, or ideas like quadruple bottom line. You know, what are the new paradigm aspects that we can draw from that just seem like our normal lives at this point, right? Like many of us, like we only eat organic, and it's not even a second thought. And so where can we really start turning up those system-wide level changes within ourselves and our communities, and remember and know that we get to play on a whole new playing field right now. Like it's going beyond our homes or even our community houses. It's going into eco-villages. And something I want to share that's really fun that's in our field right now is, so we as the Earth Nation are continually being gifted large plots of land that are largely unused. And the owners or the stewards of these lands are saying, I just want the new paradigm to happen here. Some of them are saying, if you make a successful regenerative business, can I have 20% for using my land? But there's a lot of people that are saying, I bought this big tract of land to steward something new in. And we have access to these lands in Africa, in the UK, in South America, in America. They're popping up all over the world for us. And one that I wanted to speak into right now, which is particularly exciting, is happening in a little town in the middle of the country. So not on the like super cool West Coast or the East Coast, but in Missouri. So that's like through fair for America. It's a little town called Ava. And there's a group organization there called the New Haven Church. And they've been holding space there for a long time, holding ceremony and bringing consciousness to the area. They've also purchased 500 acres of land and other acreage around there, 15,000 square feet of downtown store frontage. And that's just the beginning. And the idea is that we have this opportunity to actually help transform this town into a center or city of light in a graceful way. And it's such a cool opportunity that we have to access that kind of systemic change and to come in and say, hey, like, what could we do here to make this town a little bit more awesome? Can we revegetate? Can we grow a food forest here? Can we bring the community a really awesome cafe, yoga, healing center to help awaken people, or to help people feel safe and comfortable in community, or help restore hope and feelings that, wow, like things can actually get better, and they are getting better. And this is not the only town. And it's interesting that there's been some really gnarly fires lately. And it just, again, helps me remember that we're here to reclaim and to rehabilitate. And yes, Ojai, you know, the phoenix rising from the ashes, and allow ourselves, if it's for us. I know not all of us are systems thinkers. This is something that's definitely a passion of mine. But to really remember that we're on that town council level, we're on that mayor level. That's us too. And to like reach out a little further outside of our homes now and really inspire the change, because we're not the only ones who are going to be doing really awesomely financially. It's not just us. It's a lot growing. For the next year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, wealth just shifting hands. And once you have your basic needs met, I mean, I live under the poverty line with what I make. And it's amazing, and I feel super abundant. And once we have our basic needs met, this wealth that's coming in, what are we going to do with it? And how can we already start implanting the ideas or the questions, or like I said, that regenerosity paradigm right now? Like, if I buy myself a dinner, you know, the other day we've been going out to eat, we've been in Ashland, it's been such a gift. But I'm like, if I go out to eat like 2 or 3 times, I want to buy somebody else a meal. Like I want to flow with abundance and regenerosity all the time. And so this is such a crux point too. Well, I do understand that many people who will be coming into this wealth will do what they need to feel abundant. So maybe they've never had, you know, a beautiful crystal or a new car or things that maybe are valued on that material plane. And so maybe they'll fulfill that first, which is totally understandable, because every generation in the past has always wanted the next generation to feel more abundant. You know, your parents want you to have more than they had. But then once we kind of reflect to each other that wealth is not just in things, and it's in community and it's in connection, and we get beyond that pretty quickly. And that's when it's like, wow, look at us. We're just the wealth. We are the riches of the world. We are the abundance, and we can play together in a new way here and now. So that's feels about good for now. But yeah, like this economic revolution, it's on. And if you missed out on Bitcoin, it's super okay. I actually made a very interesting financial decision this year and didn't make a lot of money that I could have easily made. And I'm sure many of us have stories, and other people are like, whoa, I'm just rocking it right now. I've never seen so much money in my wallet before. And if any of that's true or not true for you, it doesn't matter. But even if you start today, this beginning of the new year, there's so many altcoins coming up and up. I mean, that are like 0.3 cents right now, that might go to $1,000, right? Like the gains, like 1,000% gains, like things this world has never seen, things the stock market has never seen. And it's not going to slow down anytime soon. There's so many more coins coming through. And that just brings into awareness too, the ability for us to choose our own trade economies, to be able to truly say no to fiat anymore, like fully across the board, even where real estate companies are accepting at least Bitcoin right now. Like stuff is happening where like in the future, probably, I mean, I have my BitPay Visa right now, so I can use my Bitcoin to buy my groceries, pretty much anything that Visa does, I can do with Bitcoin. So it's already part of the shift. And so speaking into that is that we can empower our own communities, your own town, to adopt its own currency. And with all of the like wildly innovative genius technology out there, we can easily transfer and translate and exchange our currencies. And what's so cool about this is we get to do like what Damanhur did in Italy. Damanhur is an amazing, beautiful eco-village in the mountains of Italy. And they began their own currency called creditos. Creditos, I remember, not sure now, but they were worth twice as much as the euro because their goods had twice the quality, the imbuement of spirit. They felt divine. They felt great. So people would come and give their euros into the community, buy goods in Damanhur, and experience that wealth. And meanwhile, Damanhur just kept amounting more and more regenerative wealth because they weren't outsourcing all of their funds. They weren't outsourcing all of their services or resources businesses. They were doing everything, almost everything in-house. Like maybe they weren't making like every single possible pipe they could, but for the most part, choosing to in-house as much as possible to insource and regenerating their wealth in a way where they could say yes and say, I believe in the ethics and the consciousness and the quality of what we're creating. And so they, you know, they were doing their alternative currency long time ago, and I've always remembered that as something super special. And now we have the opportunity as communities, as tribes, as eco communities, as towns, as villages, as even a certain kind of business to choose your own currency. And over the course of the next year, I'm going to be sharing more about this, as is the Earth Nation, because we've put in place systems, or we have systems, and we're evolving and growing them more to make it easier and easier for us to commune, to connect around a shared vision, a shared goal, whether that's a business or a community or a humanitarian effort, have the ability to connect around that effort, to have all the abundance we need to make that happen, to effectively source the collective genius through smart decision-making processes, to effectively communicate across long distances, and just utilize the resources, some of these really cool digital resources we have, as well as our own, you know, learnings that we've been using, that we, you know, experience at festivals or just being in conscious community. And we get to employ those now in a bigger level. And I think that's super exciting, because I know a lot of us have been training for this for a long time. And we've been testing our skills and sharing our teachings, maybe for small groups, or maybe some of us for bigger groups. And now we're having a whole nother opportunity to take it to like the whole next level. And it's an empowering, sovereign, really, really an exciting time. And I just want to encourage all of us to stay in that bob, or that devotion, that feeling that we've got this, and that we're only being supported with this economic revolution, and that you haven't missed out on anything at all in the crypto world. It's only just begun. There's such an itty-bitty percentage of the population that even knows about crypto yet, whereas, and like countries are fully adopting it. It's so amazing. It's so on. So yeah, thanks for hearing that today. It felt important. Nice to see those of you that have joined. Wow, I've never done this before. Wow, Stephanie Marcial from high school, and Flo. And oh, wow, Thomas. It's been a really long time, Circus Thomas. Well, have a beautiful day, everyone. I love you. Keep on keeping on doing your good works.